Welcome back to another episode of the Kaleidoscope Maker, and this time I'm going to actually show you how to make two kaleidoscopes. Pretty well they're the same kaleidoscope, but the difference will be one of them will use 3 mirrors and the other one will use 2 mirrors. I'm using regular mirror in this, not first surface, which we'll discuss later in a future episode. And the main object of this is to just show you the difference between 2 mirror and 3 mirror, and also show you how to make a kaleidoscope. These will pretty well be identical, other than the fact that in the 2 mirror it'll have 2 mirrors and the 3 mirror will have 3. It's based upon a potato chip can. I'm not going to mention the brand name of this, but if you look at it, it looks like one with a nice little smiley faced guy on it, and it's a relatively brand name one. I've covered this one with some laser paper and the other one I covered with some gold vinyl, adhesive vinyl tape that you can paint them, you can cover them with anything you want. Now, next step for me to do is to actually, oh, by the way, you want to clean them out. You also want to keep the lids to them too. I'll find one for this one. But first thing you want to do is clean them out, treat them the way you want to treat them, keep your lids, and next step will be for me to drill an eye hole. I'm going to drill an eye hole in here in the center of both of these, and then we'll come right back. Well, I'm back. I've cut my clear pieces, and as you see, I've drilled my hole in here. Please be very careful when you drill this hole. This is metal tin. You want to cut it carefully with the right drill bit, and you want to make sure that there's no little spurs or stuff to get your finger caught in there or hurt. Also, sometimes there are little spurs on the inside, but you just got to be careful when you do that. But once you get the hole in there, you get the hole in there. Now, we're going to create what's called the eyepiece. It's not a lens or anything like that. It's just a clear piece of plastic that you can either cut from like a sheet of plastic, or in this case I ended up using just an old cover, plastic cover from a packaged device, or we can use an old CD cover of a broken CD case. They'll work beautifully for it. They're not sick. These may be a little hard to cut. I use this because it was easy to cut with scissors, so that's what I did. And this is about 2 inches by 2 inches. I don't know if you can see it. It's actually pretty doggone clear. 2 inches by 2 inches. And just to give you a reference on the potato chip can, it is 2 7/8 inch diameter, about 3 inches in diameter, and it is 9 3/4 inches long. So if you want to go look those up. However, this design can be modified to be used with almost any size tube or whatever, but you have to know what you're doing. Dimensions of what I'm giving you with materials here will work fine with this. And of course, you should keep the lid. So now what I'm going to do, doesn't matter which one I use, I'm going to just drop this down in there, make sure it sits pretty well flat. You might want to trim the edges, or excuse me, the corners of this in case if it doesn't fit in there nicely. But it should bend pretty well and fit in there just okay. I'm sure you can't see that in there, but it's in there. And you want to do that for both of them. Yes, you can glue these in there, but you got to be careful not to get any glue in the center, as it might mess up the view through the little hole inside. In a minute I'll be back to show you how to assemble the mirror. Okay, the next thing is to get your mirrors cut. And this is glass mirror. If you don't know how to cut glass, I recommend you learn. Hopefully in future videos I'll show you how to cut. This is regular mirror, not for surface, as I mentioned. And I'm going to do 2 sets, one with 3, one with 2. This is the called the outside, and this is the inside. This is what causes the reflections and makes the kaleidoscope work. Again, before you assemble them, make sure they're clean. If they're not, your image won't be as good. As you can see here, I can hold this one looks dirty. This one looks relatively clean, and that's important to do. And for these, dimensions happen to be, I have it 8 and 5/8. I was trying for 8.5. Doesn't matter. 8.5 by 2 1/4 works relatively well for these tubes. So if you do 8.5 by 2 1/4, measurements can vary. You should be able to get a relatively good design. You can make it smaller if you want. Now, previously I showed you the stained glass tape that I used for assembling the mirrors. Any metal tape is fine, works wonderful, but I like this aluminum tape for ducts. Not duct tape, aluminum tape for duct work. And it's actually a metal tape, and it's got adhesive on it. So I'll tear about 3 pieces, right size. I apologize for the dog barking. We have a visitor in the house. The dog. I'll move these out of the way so you can see. And you get one corner started somehow. Okay. And then what we're going to do is place the mirrors so that the mirror side faces in. Okay? On all pieces. In this case, as you see, the dark side is only going to be on the outside. And all I'm going to do is temporarily set them up together like this. Start the tape on them. As you've seen in my previous thing, I could use my mirror holding device, my mirror angle device to do this, but I'm assuming that you don't have all these neat things or one to make them, so I always try to do it kind of the hard way. Well, what I call the hard way. Well, actually, let's do it. Also, I recommend you make sure your surfaces are clean when you work. That way, if you do like I'm doing, you won't really get anything on your mirrors, other than your fingerprints sometimes. Now, there's also different ways of overlapping the mirrors. If you want to do that, I don't have these cut. You'll have to make them a little less in width if you're going to overlap your mirrors. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this right here, and you can see that that's basically the beginning of your kaleidoscope. Pretty cool. Well, I'm going to do some more taping here. Hopefully you can watch me. And another way to do it would be to make a couple of little pieces. To help hold the mirror in place as you're working on it. Kind of like that. Another thing that I'm noticing is you want to make sure that your ends match on both sides. I've got one mirror a little long, but that's alright. Alright, and then you do want to cover up the seam. It helps block out the extra light that comes in. There are many other methods of assembling mirror, but this is usually a quick and easy one, and I find out it works well. And hopefully in future videos I'll show you how to do some of the other assembly methods. Now, I'm not trying for perfection in this one. I will usually spend a lot of time standing here making sure the mirrors are perfect and the angles are correct and everything else. But right now I just want to show you the concept, and you can learn to adjust the mirrors yourself. Again, I do like this metal tape. It's one of my favorites. I don't always use it. I use other methods. But it has a tendency to block light very well and hold in place. Even if the adhesive kind of goes, it still wants to maintain its metal shape. And there basically you have the innards of a kaleidoscope. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab one of them, doesn't matter which one you want, and hopefully it just slides right in there and fits great without having any packing material. Now if we're going to put in packing material, which you can do, you'll slip it down here on the outside. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if you can, don't know if there's enough light there. Yeah, right there. On the outside, right in here, between the outside of the mirror, you don't want to get any in the interior. You just want to do it in the outside of the mirror and the body tube, and you don't want to go past the end of the mirror. You don't want to fill it up that high, but you can put in like a styrofoam, watered up paper towel, whatever you want to use, which we can cover more on that later again. But you could pack that in there. Now this fits in there relatively nicely, so I don't think I need to do it. See, it doesn't slip very much when I'm turning it. That's a good thing. Now what I'm going to do is come back in a few minutes and show you how to make the 2 mirror system. This is the 3. Remember, let me let you look through the hole. 3 mirror system. And the next one will be 2. I'm going to assemble the next set of mirrors. Again, make sure they're clean. And I went ahead and just spray painted and that shiny part should dull out here because this was a flat primer type thing. Most people like black and like it flat because then it's less reflective, but you can use whatever color you like. I'm not being particular, and you can even make it shiny. If it's shiny enough, it actually becomes almost like a third mirror, and as a matter of fact sometimes it may be actually a third mirror, which you may not want to have happen. It's up to you. But anyhow, I painted this piece of plastic. It's the same size as my mirrors, and I painted it black and flat, and hopefully that shiny part will dull out. And I'm going to assemble it. Usually you wait till everything's dry and set, but I just wanted to show you how this works. And again, we can go through the same steps of putting the mirrors together. And eventually you'll learn a method that works for you and something you like to do. And as you've done this quite a few times, I haven't done it too often here recently, but you can actually create methods that make your mirror assembly easier. I have my methods, which this really isn't one of them, but it works. And make your assembly quite efficient and accurate. Again, I'm not going into detail to make these things perfect angle-wise. That you can do later. As you learn how to handle it better, you can get perfection in your mirrors. And sometimes you may not want perfection in your mirrors. Sometimes simple mistakes come out in some of the most beautiful, interesting image designs. It's all up to you. It's an art form. Okay. And this would be a 3-mirror or 2-mirror system. See? That third system, other than that shiny part, really shouldn't be showing very much. Alright, and again, once you've got it set, you can drop it down in here. This one is a little loose, so I might want to add some packing material to the outside of it. See, it wobbles, and as I turn it, it has a tendency to turn too. I make it turn. So I may want to shove some packing material down here on the outside of it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I try not to get any stuff on the inside. I'm going to take this old roll of tissue paper, tear it down a little bit, wad it up, and as you can see here what I'm doing, hopefully you can see what I'm doing, put a little bit there on that side. Wad this one up, and I try not to get any fuzz or anything inside my mirrors. Down that side. And down that side, and that should help hold it together. And again, I may want to take something, pack it down farther and put more in here, but that should work for now. You got the idea, the concept. So next thing is to create a boundary over the mirrors to keep the junk from falling into the mirrors, because at this time in this scope we don't want that to happen, or the other one. So what we're going to do is cut a piece of plastic, clear plastic, to put our stuff in here, what I call junk, because you can use junk. And then you can see what this looks like. It creates the start of the object chamber, where you put your objects in there. And I'll be right back with that. Okay, well, I'm back, and I've cut 2 simple circles. Now if you can see them very well, hopefully we can reflect them here, to fit inside the tubes. What they're going to do is they're going to sit just like this, top of the end of the mirror. Now, one of them I'm going to glue around the edge, and then I'm going to let the glue dry. But the other one, I'm going to cut a piece of cardboard, and this is not the cardboard, but I will show you that. I'm going to cut the cardboard so that I can make it into a ring, so it will fit inside like this, and again be inside the object chamber, and it will hold the clear plastic piece on the end. And in a moment, I will show you that, and in the meantime I'll go ahead and start gluing this one in place just by putting glue in there and just letting it dry. So I'll be back showing you. Okay, I went ahead and I glued this inside. This will dry, and it's supposed to dry clear. I'll have to let it sit a while. This time I'm using some silicone glue, but that's just what I had. Doesn't matter. Just make sure it's something you like. And like I said, this should dry clear. I'm going to have to let whatever glue I use completely dry before I put anything in here. And hopefully you'll see that later after it dries. In the second one, what I'm doing is I'm putting in a piece of cardboard to make a little ring inside of here, and I'm going to glue it in place just because I like to. I don't have to, because the end cap fit over it, but I do want to make sure it fits on within the end cap. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up marking this and cutting it down, and I'll come back and show you. Just to show you what I did with the piece of cardboard. Cut it, put it in there, placed it around the edge. I did not glue it, and I probably will because I just like that way that works. You don't have to. Then this will go over, and that way holding your pieces. So let me show you what this looks like. I can't show you the other one because again the glue hasn't dried yet. Just as just as it does, I will show you. So let me go ahead and add some stuff in here and show you what this one looks. By the way, this is my 3 mirror system. Well, I'll show you 3 mirror system. I'm going to grab some plastic beads. I usually like using the clear ones because they let some light through, but you can also use opaque ones and translucent ones. Nice Christmas tree. Clear ones are typically the ones where it lets light through. Opaque ones are where it doesn't let any light through. And translucent ones, kind of like this white one. I don't know if you can see it lets a little bit of light but blends it out. So I'm just going to grab some of this stuff in here and dump it in there. But I also found something interesting. On the ground I found my son's little iguana salamander something, and I'm going to put him in here just for the fun of it because he fits, see? Then I'm going to dump some beads around him. Now you can fill this up to the point where the stuff doesn't move. That's up to you. Most people don't like that. Usually they want the stuff to move some, or you can fill up to where there's so little in there you hardly see anything. I'm just going to take what I have right now and show you what it looks like. I just dumped some stuff in there. Have that cute little salamander in there. Here we go. Kind of hard for me to hold this exactly in the right spot. But you see what it does? Isn't that beautiful? Now I want to add some more probably. Both large and small pieces. And you'll get to see what that does. And here we go. Try to bring it here into the center. That's the 3 mirror kaleidoscope. See how it gets a triangle in the center? And then it extends on out in all directions. Over there, up, down, this way. That's your kaleidoscope. And I'll come back in a little bit after, again, the glue dries in this other one and show you what the 2 mirror system looks like. Well, this is now dried enough so that the objects won't stick to it. And what I'm going to do is put some of the beads in again. I'll keep that little lizard I have in here. And then I'm going to borrow the lid off of this since I lost my lid. And I'll show you what the 2 mirror system looks like. Add in some beads. Again, you don't want to overfill it, but you want to have enough that you enjoy the image. And hopefully that'll be enough. And here's what a 2 mirror system looks like. Hold on here. See, it creates a single. Hard to do here. There you go. It creates just a sphere, a circle in there. see from looking at the outsides that it doesn't continue on. It stops at the basic circle. Again, these are not perfect, but they give you an idea of what a two-mirror system looks like. I'm going to add a few more beads and stuff in here. There we go. Probably have too many in there now, and they're probably not all too clear. Hold on here. There we go. That's your 2-mirror and your 3-mirror kaleidoscopes made out of potato chip cans, using regular mirror. And hopefully I gave you all the dimensions during our discussion of how to make this. So here we go. So be sure to come back to our next video. Hopefully I'll have one sooner than I had between the last one and this one. But you'll learn how to do some more kaleidoscope or kaleidoscope related tools or something dealing with kaleidoscopes. So come back soon, and if you like this, be sure to mark that you like. Please share this information with your friends, and come back often. Thanks. Bye.